Every community has stories. This is where ours live. The We Are Grant County app brings together local voices, events, businesses, the podcast, and the magazine all in one place. And we're just getting started. We're looking for storytellers, guests, and sponsors to help shape what's next. Visit
wearegrantcounty.com.
This episode is brought to you by No Blink Pictures. Sports, seniors, families, professional headshots, even creative theme sessions. This is where your story gets captured. NoBlinkPictures.com. Welcome to We Are Grant County, the podcast where we sit down with people who are building the community one story at a time.
Today's episode's special. You probably know the name Casa Martini. You probably know Martine. But today we're talking about the heart behind it, the journey from a small town in Mexico to right here in Grant County.
This isn't just about food. It's about sacrifice, family, citizenship, grit, and what the American dream looks like when it's lived out in real time. So today we're going to welcome Ariana and Christian. We're so glad that they're here. And before we dive in, we would like them to introduce themselves.
My name is Ariana. I am Martine's daughter, but I'm also a server, and I am actually making my way up to general manager.
And I'm Christian. I'm just a server there, so, and her friend.
You're not just a server.
No, you're not. You're a big part of it, too.
So today, thank you both for being here. We've had this on the books a couple times, but I'm so glad that we're able to kind of get this finally recorded because
Right.
I think everybody's just going to enjoy this story.
Life happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
busy people.
Running a restaurant, I mean, that
It's
I can
hard.
say is one of those places that things are always changing. Things happen. You got to adjust. So
Yeah. On
Very-
top of having kids and stuff, it's just it's crazy work.
life in general. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
So the theme of this episode is pretty much kind of digging into the roots, and kind of like your dad's journey a little bit on how he got from Mexico to Grant County. And of course, we want to also touch on the restaurant itself.
Yeah.
So what would be, so like I said, he's made his journey. So he started in Mexico.
Yes, he's from a small town called Michoacan, Mexico. It's a very small town. It's very much poverty. Back when he was younger, it's slowly growing. But yeah, he grew up with 7 brothers and sisters and his mom and dad. And he only went to the 2nd grade because his dad and mom were so poor. He had to go out there and work. So I can't remember what age you're at. I think you're like 7.
I
Yeah,
was going to say,
You're pretty
Our-
young.
our son's in 4th, and that's 9. So I say -2. So I think you're right on
Yeah,
track.
yeah. So he
Let's just say too young.
Too
Let's
young.
Just too
Yeah.
young.
too young, and he, them stories where people are like, "Oh, I gotta walk a million miles." That was actually really true for my dad. And the crazy part is, he actually had holes in his shoes.
Was it kind of a rural community, kind of outside a big city, or was it kind of just kind of on the outskirts of the big city?
It's kind of like here.
Kind of like here.
Kind of
Yeah.
like here. It's very small. Everybody knows everybody. It's just they speak Spanish, but it's very different down there. Like it's hard to explain 'cause I've never been there, but
Yeah.
he always talks about how the culture's different, the people's different. It ain't like how we grew up. It's very different. Education wasn't a big thing over there.
Mhm.
My dad talks about how, my grandpa would have one candle to light the house and they weren't allowed to use it, only at night for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And, tortillas, if you lay them out for so long, they become hard. So his mom would save the tortillas that wasn't eaten the night prior, and that's what they would chew on. I mean, my dad had to work really, really hard his
Yeah.
whole life. So, I mean, it sucks to hear, because you don't want no kid to go through that.
Yeah.
And, me and my siblings, we complain all the time, oh, we had to eat ramen noodles. That would be a blessing to my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really sounds like that really motivated a lot of what he's done since then.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you want to do better. It makes you want your kids and your family to not go through things that they had to go through.
So when somebody says the name Martin in your presence, here in Grant County, and they're talking about Martin, what do you see, or what does that say to you?
It says to me basically like a 5-foot man who's running business. He's very humble. Everybody would tell him like, you're very humble. You're a nice guy. He's just cool. I mean, he's funny. He just has a good time. I mean, you wouldn't know my dad owned a business. You wouldn't know anything. You would just think he's a normal everyday guy.
Yeah. That'll do anything for anybody.
He would give you the shirt off his back. He'd give you his car, his house. He's a good
He's
man.
done it to be for people.
Yeah, I mean, hey, shout out to my dad. He gave us all the cars. I mean, he would drive on them, and then he would buy a new one and give us a new one. Give us that one. So, I mean, he really does, give back and to his friends, to his family,
Yeah.
to people he meets at the restaurant that we don't even like really know. Like there's people coming all the time that, hey, I can't afford something. Can you guys, help me out? And my dad's quick to be like, yeah, let me feed you, have a seat, gives them a menu, the whole process, He's a very giving guy. So when I think of Martin, I think of a very humble, good guy who knows what it's like to come from nothing. I think he's a very humble guy. I think he's a good guy. He's funny too. I'll give him.
I was going to say, when I've seen your father, every time he's got a big smile on his face, it's all about he's cracking a joke or, checking in on you. How is everything? And
Yeah.
So that's what I've gotten from him. Very, just fun guy.
Yeah, he's very fun. You guys don't get to see the Martin when we close because he's quick to pop open a Mick Ultra and start singing on the mic.
And dance with you.
And we're always telling him, like, dude, we want to go home. He's like, no, like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
That's always fun. And, when we were little kids, he would bring out a baseball bat and a ball and we'd play baseball on the side of the yard, play soccer. All the neighborhood kids would come up because, my dad was just cool.
Yeah, they had a pool and then like all the kids would like come to the pool. I just hit my mic.
Yeah, I mean, like my dad is the life of the party. Like he's very cool.
So both of you briefly mentioned that you're working at Casa Martini. What, I guess, how long have you been working there? And I guess maybe define your roles a little bit more for me.
Okay. I've been working there now for 6 years. I was off and on, but I don't count them. I am actually his server, and that's all I thought I was going to be. So I didn't think I was going to be anything more. But when our manager quit 2 years ago, my dad sat me and my brother down, and he said, "Look, I'm going to need help. This is my dream right now, but at the end of the day, it's going to be your guys' one day." So I think I'm more older than my little brother. So I thought, it's my time to show up and show out. This is my dad's dream. I don't want him to like super stress out. So right now, actually, this is going to go to the next part where surprise. My dad actually is opening up a new restaurant in Hamilton, Ohio.
Oh,
awesome.
So this is why right now is coming to right now. So I slowly became the manager. Like I just kind of got thrown in there. So which is fine. It's cool. I'm not the bossy kind. I'm very cool and chill. As long as you do your job, I don't mess with you.
Yeah.
Just don't get me in trouble and we're cool.
Yeah.
But now I'm working my way up as general manager. So hopefully I don't have to serve anymore, but I'm still obviously going to help where it needs to be. And then Christian,
Yeah, I've been there like a year and a half. It'd be 2 years in August. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a server. Me and her, we just be like by ourselves sometimes throughout the week. So we just be chilling, serving. making friends with people.
I know we say servers, but really, when you go into the restaurant, I know people just look at us servers, but we're not your servers. We're your friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We quickly become your friends. We
We'll be
want,
sitting over there yapping.
yeah,
forever.
we call it our yap sessions because my dad's like, "Why are you talking so much?" I'm like, "We're yapping."
Yeah.
You know, because that's what, when you go to a restaurant, some people they really go in there for a conversation. You know, some of these people that come in here, they're young couples or older couples who, you know, kids are grown up, grandkids are older. They want to have conversation. They want to get to know you, and we want to get to know them, and we want to know your story just as much as you want to know ours.
Right.
We're just as curious too, because all I know is Grant County. I've only lived in Grant County my entire life. I moved to North Carolina for 5 years, but that was as far as I got. So if he was coming from outside the states, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to know.
Yeah, and you meet people from all over the world. So
So we
it's
become your friends. People call us servers. That's our technical name for our job, but we're your friends.
There's so much more involved in that.
Yeah, we're your friends.
So growing up, when did you first realize that your dad wasn't just your dad?
When I lost my name, when I became Martin's daughter.
Yeah.
Actually, funny story is, I'm sure the person who, when this gets posted, is gonna listen to this. This past winter storm, I hit a mailbox. My truck had slid, and I went, good me, because I didn't want to be on Keeping Up with Grant County.
Yeah.
I went up to the door and I knocked, and I was like, "Hey, like I accidentally hit your mailbox," and they didn't even say anything. The first thing out of their mouth was like, "Oh, you're Martin's daughter." And I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "You're gonna tell on me." So I made sure I told my dad for today. Told on me.
That anonymity is gone.
Yeah. And not only that, like you would go to Walmart or, you know, the stores, restaurants, little restaurants. Martin, hey Martine, how you doing? Martine. And I'm like, hey, can anyone say hi, Ariana?
Right.
Please?
Gosh, too much attention.
Yeah,
I
like,
mean,
he's-
God, let us live our life. Like,
Yeah,
He
like,
really is so popular.
It's so
It's
popular.
crazy.
Like, can we be cool for once?
Literally.
So if someone were to step foot inside Casa Martini, what do you want them to understand about why it exists?
When you come to Casa Martini, we want you to know that you're making someone's American dream come true. When you step in, the moment you walk through them doors, you're instantly our family. We want you to be our family. We want to know your story. We want to know your big achievements. I mean, we know people, we've served people from when they were little and now they're teenagers. You know, that's my dad's favorite part. And he always talks about that. But you're eating food that is my dad's culture. You're eating basically at his kitchen table.
Yeah.
It's a side of him that he brought to the community. You know, this just wasn't for him. This ain't a check to him. This is his heart. This is his soul. This is his dream. This is something bigger than a restaurant. This is Martine. This is his roots. This is the food that he ate. This is the food that is in them Latin countries, in Mexico and Honduras and multiple. There's just multiple things that when you come to Casa Martini, that's what you're walking into. You know, you become a family.
That's
You're-
well said. I mean, because like I just go to get the food. You know, I'm not thinking like that deep into it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, and you know, even a lot of local restaurants. I want you guys to remember that you guys aren't, these aren't checks to these people. These are people's livelihoods. These are people's retirement funds. These are people's dreams, goals. These are a lot of, like, it's a bigger picture than, because people instantly think, they look at me and like, oh, you're rich. Like, this is just for your gain. No, it's not. It really is not. If you guys really sat down and look what it takes to make a business run, it really ain't. It's not about the money. It's about the love. Because, you know, the restaurant, when he first started, yes, was he very popular? Yes, because where he's, you know, worked there before, but it's trial and error. It's, you know, it wasn't perfect at first. It, you know, there was a lot of servers who were good servers. There was management that wasn't very good management. There was, you know, my dad had to, you know, leave behind the scenes, so he wasn't always there. It's a lot of, like, you know, it's not. We're not. It's very hard to explain because it's not just about
Mhm.
It's a bigger picture. It's someone's dream, and when you see people loving it, you're like, yes, this is the moment where, yes, my food is great. They love my culture. They love what I'm doing. And, when you see people like, oh, this ain't my cup of tea. I mean, that's fine. You're not going to be everybody's favorite, but, it does hurt a little bit. You're just like, oh, that's my dream. Like, being his daughter, it like hurts a little bit when, you see people like bashing or, it hurts a little bit. But when you see people talking so good, you're like, yes, my dad, this is something he worked his whole life for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when people go up to walk to him, shake his hand and be like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like your food's so good. Thank you. Or, even when we do the fundraisers, when people come and shake our hands, that right there is that's what makes my dad. He gets super excited. He knows he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I think I mean, you can tell that's a major difference between your chain restaurants and then your family
Right.
run
Yeah.
businesses. So it seems the investment and the time put into it is there's a lot more care and meaning behind the work as opposed to just, clock in, clock out kind of place.
Right.
Yeah, there is.
So we've talked a little bit. We briefly talked about how your dad came from Mexico. Can we dive into that a little bit deeper?
Yeah.
So like where did he come from, and is there any more we need to know about him growing up there, like, and then like why did he leave in the second grade and how did he get to America, kind of things like that.
Yeah, so like I said, he's grown up in Michoacan, Mexico with a bunch of brothers and sisters. His mom and dad, and um I, like I said, he had to leave school because he didn't have a choice. It's you gotta eat.
Yeah.
You gotta help your family. And a lot of siblings didn't finish school. And they just had to help their mom and dad. And my dad speaks on like, there was a time when he got a little older as a teenager where he got like a real job and he was playing soccer because soccer is like big down there. So he was playing soccer and he would tell, his dad, like, Dad, you worked really hard. We did really good. Like, go get yourself a beer. And, my grandpa would actually take the money and give it to, his mom and say, no. And then, like, no, this is for food for the week or something. And, like, my dad would find out and be like, Dad, like, why are you doing that? Like, that's for you. That's our secret.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, my grandpa told him, like, we can't do that. We don't have the extra funds.
I
So
feel like that's why he is like so. He doesn't spend a lot of money.
oh, he's very cheap. He can make $10 stretch over
Yeah.
a week. And I'm not even joking. But he as he got older, he come to the United States to like sell furniture, like bring furniture back there because that was very popular back then. But unfortunately, he had a kid.
So that's kind of how he started. So
Yeah.
when he came, was it like temporary? Was he going back and forth? Can you explain that a little bit more?
I can't really tell if he's going back and forth. He never like speaks on that part.
Mm.
But he will say like, he was gathering furniture. It was him and his brother that was like, supposed to go back because you don't want to leave your family. His mom and dad, he's been helping take care of them since he was little. So, you don't want to leave that. And nobody wants to leave their home, So he come to get furniture to bring back to sell. But, he had a kid.
So that was his business, kind of. That's how he was
His
making-
hustle.
his side hustle.
Yeah.
Now, a side hustle now, more like putting food on the table. So helping support himself, but also sending money back home, or like
Yeah.
yeah.
And then how he got here, I don't know if you really want that story.
Well, I mean, just going back, coming over here to take furniture
Yeah.
back home, things like that.
Yeah, and he didn't even speak English. That man did not know one thing about English. And you gotta imagine like American dollars is different than the pesos. So it was very hard for him to learn. And it wasn't until, he got his first job at a Chinese restaurant where he learned, money, the language a little bit. And, my mom obviously helped him with the language. But so he started as a dishwasher. So, very humble beginnings. He was a dishwasher for a little bit and, and then he was living with his boss And he would say all the time, like, he would have like enough money for rent because I think back in the days he said his check was like what, 400.
Yeah, I think he said like $175 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
Pretty sure that's what.
he wasn't getting paid very much. So he would pay his part of the rent in the room and go back to work. But he learned a lot there. So then he eventually became a cook. And I'm not sure why that job ended, but then he went to Big Easy Cajun in Cincinnati. Oh my gosh, I wish that place was still alive. The bourbon chicken was the best. And I think every day I beg him to make it.
Yeah, and he's so good at making Chinese food.
Yeah,
It's
so
crazy.
thank you to whoever hired my dad for the Chinese food. He hooked us up.
There you go.
But he ended up becoming a general manager there for years. So, by then, my dad had 3 more kids and got married. And then, years later, the Big Easy Cajun closed. And like in that time, my dad became a single father. He, yeah, we were rough on him too. Sorry, Dad. So, it was hard for him because, you're going from having a job, a big role in the job, and he had all his siblings there. So they all lost a job. He's sad about that. He's sad he's in a divorce. His kids are young. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He has a house mortgage. He's stressing out. So the OGs who lived in Grant County know the restaurant El Rio Grande. And that's actually my dad's stomping grounds. That's when my dad got his popularity. But yeah, he worked there as a server too.
I think that's where we first met your dad.
Oh, you met when he was in his prime.
Yeah. So,
I was actually the chip girl because, we were so bad. And, my dad was like, oh, I'm going to get you. You're going to work now.
so that was the after school.
Yeah.
After school, you're coming to the restaurant.
Yeah. He said it was my first job, but no, that was a punishment.
So I think some of the old Grand Canyon residents would probably remember back then, but
Oh yeah.
I definitely remember, like you were talking about Casa Martini kids growing up, our son, we were bringing, as a baby, we talked to our family about our pregnancy, and then as time went on, he's growing and growing.
Well, we did all that at Rio Grande.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's how we first met him. And so
we frequented that place.
Yeah.
So
Well, now you're bringing your guys' son because I just seen him at our archery event.
Yeah.
And he's a big boy.
Yeah.
So those moments my dad really truly enjoys because you a lot of people grew up with him and us and
I know it's so crazy because we still have so many regulars that come in from Rio Grande
right.
that still come to Casa Martini and they're like, we know them from way back then.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so crazy.
And even us, like, now that we're servers, we've watched our customers have babies and now
Yeah.
their babies are about to turn 1 and it's just like a so grow moment.
Yeah.
And it is a good thing to see and watch because, you are a big part of their family and a big part of, their kid's life. I mean, we have one regular that brings her, that was pregnant with her baby and she had her baby. And I swear I held that baby since
Every
she was,
time.
every time we hold her, every time. But since she was a newborn and now she's like 10 months old. And
almost 11.
Almost 11 months. And it's like, it's crazy because I've like held this little baby and like we're watching her grow and she'll even like reach for us. And it's
Yeah,
just,
that's so
crazy.
sweet.
so I can only imagine how my dad feels seeing these babies turn to adults
Yeah.
because he really does truly enjoy that part because he'll be like, oh, I know you when you were little. And you're like, but he's really telling the truth. Like these people he knew.
Remind me, when did so Rio Grande closed but then how long has Casa Martini been a business in Grand County?
Well, we're going on our 8 years in July.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that time just flies.
It flies. You really, I feel like we just opened. I wasn't here for
does.
opening, but
Yeah.
like I feel like you just opened.
I get asked this question all the time. Yes, No Blink Pictures does way more than just sports. We still capture athletes and game action, but we also photograph senior sessions, tween sessions, and even theme shoots. So whether your kid wants to be a superhero, step into a character, or just have something fun and different, we can make that happen. And if you're on the other end of things, needing family photos or professional headshots, we've got that covered too. At the end of the day, It's about capturing people as they are in the moments that matter. If you've been thinking about booking, now is a good time. Check out noblinkpictures.com and get your session scheduled. Now you had talked about, of course, his beginnings in Mexico and now being in the U.S. for several years. Like what was he's a U.S. citizen now.
Yeah.
So what was the path to that, or like when did that take place, or I guess like how do you and he feel about the citizenship part of things?
Well, he got his resident. So you start off with either you get a work visa,
Mm-hmm.
a green card, etc. He got the resident card when he married my mom, because obviously he had kids, and he doesn't want that risk.
Right.
But as for the American citizenship, since we were little, he would study that. I mean, he had flashcards just for that, and he would tell him the quiz. I'm like, hey, I'm only in 4th grade. I don't know these answers either.
Yeah.
But
They end up, it's funny because it's a harder test than I
Yeah.
think most American citizens would probably
Yeah,
fail
literally,
it.
I've seen the questions
It's
on there,
hard.
and I'm like, I don't even know those answers. How
Yeah.
are you guys expected to know those answers when
Yeah.
you didn't even grow up here, and the people that grew up here?
So they have to work really hard
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
I bet I know that's a point of pride for a lot of immigrants. So I can imagine. I mean, is that similar experience for him? Like,
Yeah, and then also he got it like maybe like 3-4 years. No, it was before he opened the restaurant, or maybe a year within it.
Okay.
But like the laws of immigration was cracking down. You don't
changing.
changing. So you don't want to leave behind your family, and you don't, because he has a family there, but he has a family here. We're his kids. I could imagine the thought of I may have to go back and leave my kids behind. So he also took it very serious then. So he always says like that's really his reason, because the laws were changing, and he didn't want to risk, because I still have a little brother who wasn't of age, because 3 of us are grown. We can go visit him, but my little brother at the time was still young. So it's a hard process. So
He was all that you guys had for a while. so-
yeah, I mean, like I said, he's a single father. We're literally all we have. Us 5, my dad, sister, 2 brothers. Is that 5?
Yeah.
I can't count some days. We're all we have. In Grant County, we have no family here. It's just us 5. So, that's all we had. So you don't want to lose that. I mean, I couldn't imagine if I was my dad. My dad's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go with him. I'd be like, hey, I want to go too. Give me the night ticket. I wouldn't leave my dad.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's probably less of a concern now, but
Yeah.
I can see that being weighing on you a lot. Yeah. Especially
But also, that's what these, that's what the immigrants come here for. They don't want to stay here to be, risking their family, or, they want the citizenship. Just people don't realize how actually really hard it is. It's a lot of time,
And
money,
expensive, yeah.
and you got to know those questions. And you're asking a guy who didn't even finish 2nd grade, who is the 2nd president of the United States. He's not gonna know that.
it's a long, hard process,
Right.
and
It is.
He did it though.
He did it though, so go dad. Proud of you.
That's awesome. So let's kind of circle back to the restaurant. So Casa Martini.
Mhm.
And I know you kind of you mentioned it in one of your comments, to where like we were just there with our son on a night that you were fundraising for the elementary archery teams.
Mhm.
And thank you for doing the fundraisers that you guys do. But can you touch a little bit more, I guess, on how Casa Martini gives back to the community?
Yeah. So I like to toot my own horn on that one. So the community, that was me. My son started off, well, not my son, my son. My son started off as a Grand County Tomahawk football player. And that year they were trying to get sponsorships and stuff. And I remember I heard something about cleats. And kids, to me, that's my vulnerability. Hearing kids, needing stuff, and it's hard to hear. So when I went to work later that day, I was like, there's something there. I know there's something I can do. And, I'm talking to my dad, and, I went to the director at the time, Jordan Johnson, and I said, look, I obviously don't have the money to help, but, my family does own a restaurant, and, this is what we can do. And she handed me a little slip, and it said, like, oh, a gold spot, blue spot. So we did sponsor them, and then I also offered them, like, let's do a eat with Grant County Tomahawks. Let's see how that turns out. And then, like, it started from there. So, I started with the Grant County Tomahawks, and I really didn't know, like, the extent of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, this past year and a half, I really been deep diving into my community, and, nothing feels better than helping kids. Because, at the end of the day, they're our future. I mean, we've lived our lives. We've done, had the opportunity. They need the opportunity. If we can change one kid's life, we did our job. We did our job. And, that to me, it's great. And, the silly thing is, my, when they come in, people like mistake me for being my dad. They'll be like, oh, thank you for doing this. I'm like, oh, I'm just a server. And they're like, can we get a picture with you guys? And I'm like, oh no, don't get my double chin. But yeah, like the community is big. I mean, we've had over 8 so far. The Grand County Archery. We've had the Braves Wrestling. We just did a fun margarita thing for the brandy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Brandy
Oh,
Nash.
right.
Yeah, so we
Family fundraiser.
Yep.
And then the drama
The drama team,
we're this Friday, upcoming Friday, we're gonna do the
Williamstown School.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a lot in the works, and it's really all for a good cause. I really truly believe that. I believe kids deserve an opportunity, and I'm always open to people, to the community, not just the kids. I mean, I've also out of my own pocket, which is no big deal, Thanksgiving gift cards, toy drives. We do all that for the community because, I'm very big on, like, we put our names out there, they're going to see the love from us. They're going to show us the love eventually. So yeah, I'm very big on the community. I feel like we're all one big team.
And I mean, I like that one big team because we are all working basically for a common goal, and it's to give the kids exactly what they need to kind of
Mhm.
feel relaxed, have fun doing what they're doing, grow up, and maybe this is where their future is, or being on a team. I think is very important when you're young.
Yeah.
You get to learn how to work with other people and kind of test your own skills and learn a lot of things along the way.
I was going to say, like, building soft skills, as they would say, right? So
Yeah.
being able to communicate well, leadership, things like that. So I think we all kind of know how important those things are in our youth, but being able to come together and pool resources, especially, since some of our community is not as well off and has a lot more financial needs. This is something that can be really beneficial and helpful for our businesses. And I think there's a lot of strong community sense in this community. And I think there's some businesses that definitely jump in and do their part. And
Yeah.
I've always seen Casa Martini as one of those.
Yeah, we're really big, and you hear a lot of people say, like, oh yeah, Casa Martini, they're the sponsorship. I mean, I to this day, I got my phone, which I don't mind if I ignore you, it's just because I'm busy. But I promise, I'm getting to that text message. I have people calling the restaurant, hey, is Ariana there? We're looking to do a eat with, and I'm like, no, Ariana's not here. Like, oh, like, and then they'll leave me like lists. I'll come in the next day, and they're just a list of people who I got a text and like, hey, what day would you like? This is what we bring to the table. Is that all right with you? Like, I'll help promote, and we'll get it all set up.
So we've talked a lot about like the fundraisers and things that you do with the schools and all that. But your business is located in Dry Ridge. Do you have any intentions of maybe communicating and doing some more fundraising with Williamstown or anything city-wise or community-wise in Williamstown other than the school systems?
Yeah, I actually got a hold of the CAC, Michelle Young, that we are now one of the people who, I guess she explained to me as like, the older people go and volunteer and they get a voucher to go eat.
Mhm.
So we're one of those, and now we're working along with the CAC team, and we've expanded from there to schools, and I think the talks right now is the prom committee. I think I'm about to do, and I think I have eat with the seniors one night. I have a lot of things happening in the background. It's a lot to remember. I got it all marked down on a piece of paper at the restaurant, but yeah, and Michelle Young, she's a very good woman. She's very smart, and she's very much involved in the community, and she loves to help people.
That's awesome to hear. So basically, if they volunteer with CAC, they get a voucher to come eat at the restaurant, or
Yeah,
okay.
right now they have one other restaurant. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to disclose that.
It's all right.
But we can, because they're also local restaurants. So Eduardo's,
Uh-huh.
shout out Eduardo's.
Yep.
Love your pizza. They're also another
pasta.
in the pasta. Oh, pasta. I mentioned you, so hook me up. The Eduardo's, they're also very good with the communities.
Yes.
And they're also one of the ones with the voucher from the CAC.
The other, another sponsor,
another
restaurant.
sponsor. Yeah. So we're
restaurant
now
sponsor.
the second one.
Okay.
And Michelle, she told me, Williamstown schools, all they have is Eduardo's. Nobody else has reached out to them.
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah, we need to expand this,
Right.
Like,
Definitely.
I'm sure Eduardo's is great, but people want other options.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Expand their taste buds a little bit.
So, that's when I jumped in, and I'm like, I want to help you. You can help me. So,
Yeah.
It's good to create those partnerships. That's very important for other,
yeah. Because, at the end of the day, we all have the same goal plan, the kids.
Yep.
Kids.
So I've got an interesting question for you.
Oh, no.
So looking back at everything that your dad has done up to this point, and like what your role is at the restaurant and things like that, what do you think the second grade Martin would think if he were to walk into Casa Martini today?
Oh, I see your English.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. I knew I was going to cry.
Oh,
I
no.
know. It's just because, my second grade dad is different.
Right.
He didn't get to be the same the second graders we were.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm pregnant.
He had to grow up much quicker than we did.
Yeah, I always say I'm mad because I had to grow up so fast to help my dad. But my dad was second grade.
Right. Well, it seems like, the Martine I know now seems like he's making up for that lost time, right? He's trying to enjoy life now.
He is. He's doing things that, he didn't have at second grade. My dad has a shoe collection. I mean, every week he has shoes coming in. I mean, I'm sitting here telling like, you don't need any more.
But then they'll come to the restaurant.
They'll come to the restaurant
another
too.
pair of shoes.
But now, now the stories I tell you where, my dad didn't have shoes in second grade. They had holes in. That's why.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have that.
Mm.
I think my second grade dad would be proud of himself.
I think so too.
I think he'd be very proud of himself. I think he wishes that he was where he's at now. Then, so, he didn't have to watch his mom and his dad, his sisters not eat. His mom would skip meals.
Yeah.
That is such a hard topic because I'm thinking like little Martine.
Yeah.
It's like, I joked around with the ramen noodles. We were blessed. At second grade, my dad, he had to work really hard. So, ramen noodles, that was a blessing.
Yeah.
We had shoes, we had clothes. So I really think my dad would be so proud of himself. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't believe that he was where he is now.
No, he would not. He
Yeah.
would not. I think he would be like, this is a dream. Like, this is not real. Pinch me.
Right.
And I really, one day, if you guys ever go to the restaurant, I want you to ask my dad, what were you doing in second grade? Because even that will bring you to tears because, even my siblings, they do it like, oh, we got to rush out and, we got divorced parents. But, my dad was so tired of hearing one day. He's like, sit down. I'm going to tell you my childhood. And, you hear that, the mom ain't eating. They're eating stale tortillas, dad not having shoes.
Right.
Having to work. You just, it's a different perspective and it hobbles you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes back to that American dream immigrant story, right? Trying to
Yeah.
find a better life, trying to support your family. And it seems like he's really done that. I
Yeah.
mean, it seems like he's hit his goals and his dreams. And I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's just,
he literally is a definition of the American dream.
Yeah.
He really is. He's one good example.
So when someone eats at Casa Martini, what do you hope they feel?
I hope you feel like you're sitting in my dad's kitchen. I hope that you feel the love. I hope you feel his culture. I hope you feel his soul, because that man has done everything to get to where he's at. This is not a paycheck to him. This is his love. This is everything that he worked so hard for. So thank you guys who, keep eating there, who keep supporting us, keep loving us, because you're making that man's dream come true. Mm.
I like, and I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm listening to your answer, and I'm like, you've, and I'm not one that has a lot of emotion or anything, so forgive me if I don't truly show it.
I'm the big soft down.
But basically, like when I walk in there, I feel comfortable.
Mhm.
I feel the culture, and the food is great, so, you don't get much more feeling out of me, so sorry.
Oh, don't lie. You
just
laughing there
just being honest. But I mean, I think you guys are definitely getting that across. Like if someone like me can kind of pick up on that stuff, then others are definitely soaking it in. So great job on that.
Thank you. We worked hard.
So I think I want to say, thank you for being our guest. And again, it took us a little while to get here. But I'm so glad we were able to finally sit down, all the schedules aligned, and sit down and get this recorded.
Yeah. I'd like to end my time here saying thank you. Thank you for letting me show you our story and our hard work, and for taking the time to get to know us. I want to thank my community for coming in and supporting my dad. To our regulars, your kind words and loyalty leave the biggest impact. We noticed and we're so grateful. And to my dad, because I know you're going to listen. Thank you. Thank you for all the hard work you've done. I'm saying this on the behalf of my siblings too. We didn't fully understand the lessons you were teaching us until now. Thank you for showing my roots. I hope one day I'm just as cool as you. And I hope my story starts here, and continuing your legacy, making sure your dream lives on.
I don't know. You might have to up the shoe collection if you want to be as cool.
No, she has a problem.
Oh yeah, I'm a alcoholic.
Same.
Oh no, not shoes. My dad wins on the shoes.
We all have our vices.
Yeah. I'm more of a clothes person.
Yeah.
I always had to share my little sister, so
Yeah.
So
We are very glad that you came and we were able to do this.
No,
This is
thank you.
very exciting.
you have
this
no
was
idea.
fun.
You had no idea what you guys just did for us.
And you all were just so nervous. And now I feel like you guys are all naturals now.
Yeah, except for me crying. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was the question I was
We were
going to
literally, she was like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry.
And even this morning, even last night, I actually asked my dad that same question. He said the same thing. I don't know. Like, it's weird, because I don't think about that, because when you're young and you're traumatized like that, you block it out.
Right.
If you've ever eaten at Casa Martini, now you know you weren't just buying dinner. You were supporting a dream, decades in the making.
That's what We Are Grant County is all about. The people behind the places, the story behind the storefronts. If this episode meant something to you, here's what we want you to do. Share it. Tag Casa Martini. Leave a review. And if you haven't already, download the We Are Grant County app so that you can stay connected to the places, events, and opportunities, bringing the heart of Grant County into one central place.
Because when we support local, we're not just spending money, we're building legacy. We'll see you next time.
Before we go, a quick thank you to our sponsor, No Blink Pictures, capturing athletes, families, and moments that matter. If you're ready to book your session, check them out today. NoBlinkPictures.com. Thank you for listening to the We Are Grant County podcast. Be sure to check out other episodes and make sure you subscribe so you're always notified when a new episode is available. Stay up to date with all things Grant County by using the We Are Grant County app. And you can find that at wearegrantcounty.com.